Now, if you're a Pennsylvania Dutchie like me, our speaker is Dr. Frank Luntz. Dr. Frank Luntz, if you're a Dutchie, and I know there are Dutchies here, but it's actually Dr. Frank Luntz. He has a whole bio. I said, should I go down this whole thing? And he said, if you're talking for more than a half a minute, I'm going to ridicule you from the back, okay? So here's all I'm going to tell you. The bottom line is, he is, according to, this is really impressive, I think, Sir David Frost, the Nostradamus of pollsters. Ooh. I will tell you this, the short conversation we had at the dinner table is amazing. And right from the get-go, you're going to be involved in this, and Frank will explain. Please welcome Dr. Frank Luntz.
Thank you. I think it was Bob Dylan who said, those who are first will later be last. Okay, I'm speaking now. You guys gonna stop this? Nice suit, by the way. Are you running for office? No? That's good for you. It is a privilege to be here. My name is Britt Hume. I weigh twice as much as Britt Hume. But I'm more, no, he is actually, although at this point in his life he requires a little more makeup, but that's another issue. Some of you have seen my shoes. I apologize for them. They are, I'm not taking my shoes off here because this table will collapse if I do. But it is it's a privilege to be here. I spent 4 years at the University of Pennsylvania. And so I lived, Penn Quakers. And so I had a chance to live in Pennsylvania for 4 years. And at the time, I could not wait to get out. And coming back here this evening, you all have been so kind to me, and I say thank you very much. Thank you for welcoming me here. I do this for a reason, which is that there's something about communication, something about language. And I'm going to give the left a little bit of credit here, because they do know how to connect. And they do know how to reach out to people. Bill Clinton was a great communicator. He felt your pain, and he felt your pain. And Carl, he caused your pain, but at least he felt it while he was causing it. And he had this ability to connect, and some of these Democrats are incredible. Now, they've nominated some others. Did you ever notice that John Kerry looked like the tree that threw apples at Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz? I don't know how many of you are from Florida, but there's this great John Kerry speech. He's delivering it up on stage, and some kid starts heckling him. And the cops come over, and the kid yells out, "Don't taser me, bro." Do you remember that? The cop sticks him, the kid goes straight down. First person ever electrified from a John Kerry speech. I realize that this is Pennsylvania. Were any of you in this room born in New Mexico? Has anyone in this room, you're from New Mexico. Have you heard of Area 51? Have you heard of Roswell, New Mexico? Are you from Roswell, New Mexico? Did you know that tomorrow is true story, it's the 64th anniversary of Roswell, New Mexico tomorrow. Did you also know that exactly 9 months to the day that the aliens landed, Al Gore was born? I used to inform people of this, and I was proud to do it. And this is all true. And I'm not going to stand up here for more than just a couple seconds, because I have an issue with conservatives who stand behind podiums. I have an issue with conservatives who create a distance between themselves and the people they want to represent. The closer you get to them, the more eye contact you make, the more that you are with them and a part of them, the more likely your audience is to support you. But I do this because Al Gore, it was 11 days before the election, and someone says at a press conference at the Rose Garden, "Mr. Vice President, are you an alien?" And I swear he starts pounding the podium, "I am a human being." If you have to assert that you are human, you are not going to win. And by the way, and I apologize, I've been traveling so much, I've been ill. I now live in California, and I've only spent 4 nights in my home since December 27th of 2011. That's how much Fox is sending me over. And by the way, thank God for Fox. Do any of you watch CNN? Raise your hands. Still? Do any of you watch MSNBC? By the way, raise your hands if you watch MSNBC a lot. See how few hands are up? The only news network with more letters in its name than viewers. That joke got me fired from MSNBC. Who's running for office here? I'm going to do a favor. Where are my people running for office? If you're a candidate for office, stand up. First off, good for you. Next, I'm looking at myself over there and like, oh my God, I am fat. Sir, if you could just stand right where you are, right there, your bald spot is fine. Just block the fact, because this is like really bad. Okay, what are you running for? Don't sit down until I tell you. What are you running for? What are you running for? And why should I? You guys want him to win? Yeah! Okay, I'll tell you what. The rest of you can sit down. Since they like you so much, come here for a second. Oh, wait. This is a primary. Oh, I don't know about this. Do it? Okay, for the record, table 10 is cut off of all wine. By the way, seriously? Just seriously? They have gone through every bottle on their table. This is called Words That Work. This sold very well. In here are the 21 words for the 21st century. In here are 12 phrases for 2012. In here is the language that'll get you elected. I got copies for everyone else out there. I'm happy to sign them for you. They're for sale, but for you, for your election, you get it for free. Good luck. So I really want you all to get the language of the words that work, and I want to be interactive with you. And by the way, I also want to thank the people. Where are my Constitutional Organization of Liberty? Where's that table? Right over there. They gave me a gift basket, and I want to thank you for it, but the gift basket includes chocolate. Why do you give a fat person chocolate? It's like giving a liberal welfare. So, if I can, by the way, I do want to compliment the people of Pennsylvania. I stopped in McDonald's on the way up here because clearly I weigh enough to go to McDonald's. And to my surprise, they had a Barack Obama Happy Meal. Order anything you want, and the guy behind you has to pay for it. Just for the record, Brit Hume does not have a sense of humor. And now I'm going to get fired. Take out a piece of. Thank you, Mr. Hume. It's nice of you to actually be here. This language. This is probably language that you have spoken. These are probably words that you've used to talk about how you feel about your kids, or in some cases, your grandchildren. That's the most effective advertising. Language that captures what we actually say and how we actually say it. Watch this.
Sometimes it's hard to sleep. Worried, I guess. About our jobs, our home, how everything costs more, even Mom's health care. How will we ever retire? Lately, I worry a lot about my kids. What's their future going to be like? I supported President Obama because he spoke so beautifully. But since then, things have gone from bad to much worse.
Notice she says, I supported President Obama. There's a reason why you hear all about this so-called Republican war on women. Because the Democrats are afraid that enough women who voted for Obama are going to make a different choice this time because of the deficit and the debt and the challenges that face their children and the next generation. Watch this, and I'm coming down here for a second. I'm going to ask you 2 questions, and I want you to tell me the truth. First one, how many of you have a better quality of life overall? How many of you would say that your quality of life is better than your parents when they were your age? Raise your hands. Now look around the room. Keep your hands up and look around the room. It's almost everybody. Now tell me the truth. Put your hands down. Now tell me the truth. Not what you want it to be, but what you believe it to be. How many of you truly believe that your kids are going to have a better quality of life than you when they get to be your age? Raise your hands. Look at this. And did you hear that little kind of That little, you're the military guy, right? Well, you're going to shoot people if they're not better off. Okay, I do the jokes here. And by the way, I forgot your Pledge of Allegiance was great, but I don't know if she's still here, but the woman who sang the Star-Spangled Banner, she was beautiful. I hope she's still here. Oh, she is over there. Ma'am, you're awesome. And you're the reason why people like me don't sing. That fear of the future is so deep. And with all due respect to the men here, most men, and they love their wives, and they love their kids, but most men judge their success based on their career. Women judge their success, and they are interested in a career and their relationship to their spouse. But they judge their success by the happiness and health of their children. And when they aren't sure that their kids are going to have a better quality of life than them, no matter how much time they give, no matter how much sacrifice, that cuts to the core. And I hate this so-called Republican war on women because it is the most divisive kind of rhetoric. And I would hope that we would not use it on them. But they're going to use it on you. And the reason why they're doing it is because they're afraid of those 2 questions. So do me a favor, ask those questions and ask them often. Because when you do, you're connecting to the heart of 51% of the electorate. And that's what makes it powerful. Let me finish this ad.
He said spending hundreds of billions on a stimulus would create more jobs. But now all we've got is a lot more debt and more people out of work. Instead of fixing healthcare, my mom's Medicare will be cut and her health insurance premiums went up. Our country's got this huge debt, and Obama says raise taxes and keep spending more? Doesn't Washington know we can't afford more taxes and debt? If they don't figure it out, it's going to be even tougher for our kids. There's got to be a way to take away President Obama's blank check.
That's just... So how can I respond? I want to answer some questions for you. I'm going to show you 21 words in a minute. I'm going to give you the language. But what can I now answer for you about 2012 before I do that? Oh, come on. In a room of 600 people? Yes, ma'am. The question is, how do you circumvent Obama talking about Romney? Because Barack Obama is still taking money from Wall Street. He's still doing fundraisers for Wall Street. And what the public doesn't like is when you say one thing and do another. So the key in this, and they will claim that Romney does raise money from Wall Street. But he never said he didn't. And Barack Obama runs as the candidate against Wall Street when he took more money from Wall Street than any candidate in American history. If the American people realize and wake up to that fact, that changes the entire dynamic of 2012. That's how that's done. Yes, sir. Do you guys hear him? that the problem with the Republican Party is that it doesn't offer enough alternatives, that it's always about beating the Democrats and that this is affecting the grassroots. What about what the Republicans? I think to a significant degree you're right. It's one of the reasons why I don't like doing electoral campaigns. I don't want to tell you what's wrong with the Democrats. I'd much rather tell you what's right about the things that I believe in. And there isn't enough of that. But that's where the two words, economic freedom, comes in. Because I think that that is the single greatest difference between conservatives and liberals, is that liberals believe that it is their freedom to tell you what to think and do, and conservatives believe in economic freedom, and they promote it in all that they do. I think that economic freedom is behind the Tea Party. I think economic freedom is behind, and by the way, I don't think that there's anything more offensive to me than listening to the left attack the motives of those advocates who are willing to give up their weeknights and weekends to fight for the Constitution. I don't... And it's amazing. I'll tell you something that I never got published, and I wished I had, and it's now, I think, too late. We asked a series of questions about the budget, the deficit, the debt, Medicare, Social Security, tax policy. What percentage, the top 10% of Americans, what percentage of taxes do they pay? The answer is roughly 68, 69%. The top 1% pay in the middle to upper 30s. The average Social Security, how much money you put into Social Security versus what you get out. Medicare and the baby boomers, all these different questions. The people who were most likely to get the questions wrong were self-identified liberals. The people most likely to get the questions right, Tea Party supporters. So if I can take your question one step further, it's all about education. It's all about teaching people about the first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights. And I have to tell you, and I'm pretty proud of this, I kind of live in California, although now this is on tape, so now I'm in trouble because I don't live in California, because I do not want to pay those taxes. I have the original printing of Federalist 59 and 60. And I looked for my entire life for this. And 60, everyone knows 59, but 60 is about holding elections on the same day every 2 years, that every state has to do it, because it's the only way to send Congress a message. If we educate people about the Federalist Papers, about the Constitution, about what these amendments mean, the more educated they are, the more likely they are to vote the way you want them to vote. So don't yell at them. Educate them. One more. Ma'am. The whole freedom of speech, and I'm watching what's happening to Rush Limbaugh. I wish he had not said what he said. And I want to be clear about that. But it's scary now that there are jokes that I used to tell that I can't tell anymore. These are jokes that were commonplace. I took a Hillary Clinton joke, turned it into an Obama joke. You could tell it about her, people get annoyed. You tell it about him, they call you a racist. You're correct to be concerned. I used to tell the joke about how of all the places Hillary Clinton could choose to live, she chose Chappaqua, New York. Chappaqua. Do you know Chappaqua is Indian for separate bedrooms? I can't tell that joke anymore. I used to tell people how Barack Obama knocked on 150 doors in one day trying to find the last undecided voters. Hillary Clinton knocked on the same 150 doors. She was just trying to find Bill. I can't do those jokes. My answer is, in 2 words, social media. And I say this, who here has a who here does not have a Facebook account? Raise your hands. Okay, we even got kids over here. How old are you? 34, you're not a kid. You're 18, right? Not you, him. You're 18 and you don't have a Facebook account? You don't. Why not? Do you realize who does not have a Facebook account here? I mean, these people who don't have accounts, these guys were born in like the 1800s. Dude, when they talk about Roosevelt, they mean Teddy. You use Facebook, you use Twitter, but I'll say to you that I believe in 2012, all of those ads had information, all of it was cited. And provided that it is cited, it's very hard for a network and for a station to turn it down. Not every station will take it, but I believe the ads that I showed you will be taken because all the information is based on fact. And that's going to be very important. Couple more. Yes, sir. Sorry. If there's one guy who needs to know the power of words, it's Mitt Romney, so why aren't I working for him? Because I found out that he was the lead in his high school play of 7 Brides for One Brother. No, seriously. Does he not look like the guy in the Levitra ads?
Now, how is that political?
I have to do both sides or I get into trouble. Actually, my favorite one, and I did get into trouble for this, is that Barack Obama is a great teleprompter reader. He reads it better than any actor. John McCain. Stevie Wonder reads a teleprompter better than John McCain. Or my favorite of all, and I made this one up. Hillary Clinton, if she'd been elected, would not have been our first female president. Jimmy Carter was our first female president. I can't work for Romney. I work for Fox News. And I am grateful for working for Fox News. I'm grateful for the chance, please sign up. And yes, and Sean Hannity is right. There's a 50-50 shot. I will yell at you. But it's worth it. And I pay you for it. And I love it because every week I'm in 2 or 3 different states and I'm getting a chance to hear from so many different people. And I'm going to give you one story. I was up in Michigan, and this is right after the Super Bowl. And I played the Clint Eastwood ad, and a couple guys were crying in the back. And this is Michigan, where they're tough as nails. And I'm looking at these guys, I'm like, what the hell? You know, I expect this if it's Berkeley. You know, San Francisco. By the way, Nancy Pelosi's living proof you get one shot at a facelift. If it doesn't work the first time, let it go. You wouldn't have gotten any of these from Brit. Just remember that. I wouldn't give it up for the world. And I have to hope that he is watching. And I don't take sides in this. And I do want it to be over. That I will take sides. Because I do think that they're hurting each other now. And that's an issue. But I will say this. He understands numbers. Romney understands numbers. He understands budgets. He understands. And when I watched people beat up on him and Bain Capital and all of that, I don't understand that. You know, we're supposed to support economic freedom. We're supposed to support accountability. Good companies get stronger. Companies that can't figure it out go away, and then they come back in some other life. And that's what we're supposed to be about. And whatever you think of him, he was good at his job. But it doesn't necessarily make him a good candidate for president. And I mean that from a communication standpoint. What makes him so good at budgets does not necessarily make him a good communicator. And he's going to have to figure that out over the next 6 months. I just can't do it. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you. Yes, ma'am. Why does Wall Street support Barack Obama? Because they found in him at that time, he came across as a moderate. It was always this centrist stuff about him, because he never really told us where he stood. There's a hope and change and hope and hope, change and change. And it was the same thing. And the funniest ad that I've seen, we're playing around with it now, just for giggles. This guy, just the same words, hope, hope, have him just say the same thing addressed in different ways, because that's all it was. But it sounded good at a time when we were really, really down. And I need to remind you of how America felt in November of 2008. And it was getting worse by the day. Do you remember what it was like? A lot of you, I'm sure, do. When every day you turned into CNBC, every day the market was dropping 50, 100, 200 points. And then it went down the same thing the next day and the next day. And Obama was an antidote to that. And now, 3 years later, if you remember the quote that he said, the single worst quote, you haven't seen it up here yet? If I can't solve this in 3 years, I'll be a one-term president. His words, not mine. Wall Street still has supported him to the tune of millions of dollars. Not as much this time as last time, but they're still supporting him because that's just what Wall Street does. Yes, ma'am. She just said that's because of that's protection money. Ma'am, make sure your husband starts your car tonight. Well, I'm not going home with you. Can I suggest taking a cab? One more, and then I want to show you some charts. Yes, sir. I'm going to say something that is going to be disagreed with by 85% of this room. I understand the point that you're making, and you are probably correct. Nobody that you want to reach cares one iota about it. You know what they care about? Gas prices, a deficit that is out of control, a debt that is higher. Do you realize that this president's debt under his administration is more than the first 40 presidents combined? That's what they care about. So if you want to win, you need, what do they say? Willie Loman, why do I rob banks? Because that's where the money is. Willie Sutton, okay, I'm not a bank robber. Give me a break. Yeah, Willie Loman is like death of a salesman. Death of your dinner speaker here. That's not the issue that takes you from where you need to go to where you want to go between now and then. That's how I'd respond. I want to do something. Can you pull up the chart, please? I'm going to do 2 more slides with you because we're about out of time. If you can pull it up. This is really important. We ask the American people, what do you want more of that you don't have enough of? You don't see any policy up here. You don't see any ideology, no partisanship. These 5 attributes. Fewer hassles, more choices, more money, more time, no worries. Take a look at this chart. And I want you to tell me what American men chose and what American women chose. So everyone in this room stand up. Everyone stand up. For 99% of you, this is a great test. For the 1% who want to get to your car quickly, here's your shot. Start with American men, and you're all going to vote on this. By a show of hands, how many of you think that men chose fewer hassles as their highest priority? Raise your hands. If your hand is up, sit down. We just lost human events in the first shot. Who thinks men chose more choices as their highest priority? Raise your hands. If your hand is up, we just lost the colonel. Sit down. I got to tell an American colonel to sit down. I would have not been very good in your platoon, I assure you. More money. Who thinks men chose more money? Who thinks men chose more time? Raise your hands. All you time people, sit down. And no cheating. Who thinks men chose no worries? No, we're not pathetic. Sit down. We just lost almost all of the head table there. Now, only the people still standing. What did women choose first? Who says more money? The only women who choose more money, that guy back there, you must have just gotten divorced. Sit down. Who says women choose fewer hassles? If your hand is up, ma'am, you must have just got married. You need to sit down. Who says women chose more choices? Raise your hands. Choice people, sit down. Who said no worries? Raise your hands. Very good. You all sit down. And only the people who are still standing, and look at how few there are, correctly identified that men want money and women want time. Congratulations for those of you who got it right. And for the rest of you, how do your policies promote fewer hassles? How do your policies promote no worries? How does your ideology provide more choices, more money, and more time? You connect on these 5 attributes, and you've connected to the day-to-day lives of your constituents. It's so easy, and yet it seems sometimes so difficult. And now what I'd like to do is to get to the one chart, which I got to go through all this. There it is. Can you push me on it? But I only have 5 minutes. If you push me on it, I miss a chart. Are you sure? You have 600 people in this room. I'm about to give you the 700 people in this room. Wow, you've got inflation in this room. Do I hear 800 people? Go ahead. She doesn't have one. She's making a statement. It's okay. Those 5 words, what do they mean? Freedom. 1% of Americans know who Saul Alinsky is, but about 90% have to pay higher gas prices because Barack Obama won't build the Keystone Pipeline, because he doesn't support nuclear energy, because he's against clean coal, because he's for more EPA environmental regulations that'll shut down these companies that are producing more electricity than they ever have before, because he's got a Washington that's out of control. And so time. Do you know what the fastest growing element of the American economy is? Female-owned businesses. And you realize the hassle and the hell they have to face to incorporate and to fill out the forms. Who are my female-owned businesses here? It is the worst possible nightmare, and every day he makes it worse. And you want to argue over a book? No. I want to argue over day-to-day life, and I'm going to show you how to do it. And tax policy is a great example. When you wake up in the morning and you drink your first cup of coffee, you pay a sales tax. You go out to your garage, you pay an automobile tax. Wow. At work, you pay an income tax. You turn on the light, you pay an electricity tax. You flush the toilet, you pay a water tax. You flew here from Philadelphia, you paid an airport tax. Stay overnight at this hotel, you pay a hotel occupancy tax. Use your cell phone as he's doing right now, you pay a cell phone tax. Get home, you pay a property tax. Turn on your TV, you pay a cable tax. Even when you die, you pay a death tax. We are taxed from the moment we wake up in the morning until the moment we go to sleep at night. Because of this administration, we are taxed from our cradle to our grave. Hardworking Americans deserve a break, and we in this room are going to give it to them. And that's my last thing is this chart right here. 21 words, 21 phrases. The word imagine is the most powerful word in the English language because it's no longer in your perspective, it's in their perspective. When I ask you to imagine life with perfection, imagine the American dream, imagine you living it. For the 700 people who are here, each one of you will have a different imagination. Why not imagine it? Why not give them the chance to fill in the blanks? I don't want to lecture to anyone. I want to pull them in. And Imagine does that. Another example, accountability. This president blames everybody else for his problems. He blames the weather in Japan. He blames the lack of cooperation in Europe. The only people he hasn't blamed are the French. By the way, I'm going to show you something here because I'm going to come back to this chart, but I want you to see it, and I know I'm going to go over time, but she took too long, so don't blame me. This is all the stuff I was going to show you, but I want to get to this. Should come up very quickly. Okay, I'm going to try to do it this way. I want you to see a picture. There we go. This is the most powerful picture, and I'll bring it back to the words. I told you about visuals being important. This is the number one visual when it comes to American pride and patriotism. We need to own that. Don't blow your nose when I'm showing the Statue of Liberty. Really? Could you wait 5 seconds? You know, can I show you a picture of dirt and then you blow your nose? The Statue of Liberty, number one for pride and patriotism. Where was she made? France, and yet we think of her as American. By the way, she's got one arm up holding the torch. When I think of the French, I think of something more like this. So I tell that joke, no, this is no joke. I tell that joke in Hong Kong because I'm an idiot, basically. And there are a couple French guys, and they are right where the two of you are right here. And they're sitting in the second row, and I'm right up at the lip of the stage. And I'm going to apologize because they're mad at me. And I can see that they're mad instantly, and I knew I shouldn't have done it. But they're speaking in French, and they're yelling at me and to each other, and they're speaking so loudly, all I could think of was Peter Sellers and the Pink Panther. So I start to laugh. The two of them stand up, they walk right out the center aisle, and I said the only thing that comes to my mind at that moment, I had to say something. You see the French? They're always in retreat. The Germans in the audience thought that was the funniest thing they ever heard. So let me go back, because this chart does matter. If I can now find it. Accountability. It's the number one thing that the public wants in their government. There isn't any. This is one of the great words for 2012. Respect. This is good, because I'm going to end right at the point where my voice gives out. Respect. It's what voters want from politicians. Every one of you is running for office. If you can't tell the people who are working longer and harder than ever before that you respect their sacrifice, they're not going to vote for you. Such a powerful word in 2012. By the way, I'm checking this table out right here. You've got, what's the name of your organization? Not yours, his. Yes. In one sentence, what do you do? Dude, I'm giving you the biggest promo you've ever had, and I'm dying up here now. What does the Frederick Douglass Association do? That's pretty good. They reached out to me. For you guys to be here cannot be easy. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm glad that you see more that unites us than divides us, and I hope that next year and the year after that, you have more people and more tables and more influence, because that's how you become a party for the country. You're in control, but next time, be faster. You're in control. It's what we want in our lives. We don't want government telling us. You ask the question, what are we for? Freedom is the positive. Government controls the negative. Freedom is the positive. Some bureaucrat and bureaucracy and regulation and red tape. Those are all the things that deny freedom. You're in control. Guess what? If you feel like you're in control, you are. It's great. And it's language that we should be using. A couple more up here. Peace of mind. Republicans always use the word security. Conservatives even more so. What's more powerful is peace of mind, because security means that you need a gun, or you need a fence, or you need something. Peace of mind means that there is no threat out there. It's a higher value. Independently certified. Nobody buys a used car anymore. They buy an independently certified pre-owned vehicle. They've certified that someone beat the hell out of your car before you bought it. I want you to have independent verification that what you say is true. I want you to have the evidence. And by the way, facts. They're looking for facts. And you put the facts in the context of something emotional. So you're talking intellectually as well as emotionally. And one last thing here. If you remember only one thing, and I'm going to leave this chart up so you can write it down. All this stuff is in the book. I'll sign copies out there in a second. If you remember only one thing, you get one shot to say it. But I promise you, if you, in your presentation, say, if you remember only one thing, they will remember what comes next. The simple truth. Simple truth is we can't have a great state or a great country without great schools. The simple truth is we can't spend more money than we have. We go broke. We destroy the country. The simple truth is a strong nation requires a strong military. There's so many ways you can answer it, but if you begin it with the simple truth, you're connecting to them in a way that erases all the differences and does so in a powerful way. These are the phrases. Now, the one up top, no excuses. I am waiting. If Mitt Romney stands up, I'm going to answer your question, wherever this guy was who asked it, and he's gone. He was here. Tell him that when Barack Obama, in that first presidential debate, gives all sorts of reasons why he did not cut the deficit in half, and he turns to him and looks at him, and in that 2 minutes that he's allowed, simply says, I'm sorry, Mr. President, no excuses. And stops. That's a game changer. If I lectured you too much, I apologize. I am so eager for a change in this country. I don't know what's going to happen in America. You can turn these back. Okay. I don't like this front table over here. I studied history and political science, and I studied what happened in civilizations that allowed themselves to deteriorate. And even though we've talked about economic issues, there's the issue that we haven't talked about, and you all will talk about on the way home. And that's morality, families, civility, decency. And I look at so many of these challenges, and I wonder whether we're going to address them. And I really wonder whether we're going to solve them. And the answer is, it's up to you in this room. And I heard the lieutenant governor say this. Sounded a little bit too much like he had written it down, and I would have liked him to have looked you straight in the eye. So someone please tell him, if you want to be really effective, memorize your speech. If you guys don't do it, it's not going to happen. So do me a favor. Tomorrow you've got 2 presidential candidates coming. Cheer them on and vote for them. And vote for the person that you really want to be the next president of the United States. But when it's done, come out of this room, come out unified and organized. Because in the end, the real election isn't in April, it's in November. Thank you all very much. I'll be out there.
Dr. Frank Luntz, how about that, huh? Okay, in all honesty, here's what I took away from that. Be sure to listen to WHP 580, the hard-working voice of the hard-working taxpayers. No, I'm only. Frank will be signing his book in the lobby. We have a 7 a.m. start tomorrow. In terms of breakfast, we have a full day tomorrow. Thank you so much for being out there and fighting the good fight. We got some great ammo tonight, so let's take it out in the streets and get the job done. Thank you. God bless you. Have a great evening. And I hear that Rosemarie Swanger, Representative Rosemarie Swanger, is here this evening, and we didn't have her on the list, so thank you for coming. And Darrell Metcalf as well, I'm told. Thank you.